One of the major downfalls of Amtrak has been the constant dire state of its equipment. It seems that Amtrak has always been an unreliable equipment in an aging fleet. And while the locomotives were the spotlight for an extended period in the late 90s, the original 1970s heritage fleet began to show its age. The solution was the rollout of the Viewliner single-level passenger car system in 1994. The design proved to be successful, and Amtrak ordered another 120 units in mid-2010. Over half of these 120 units were the standard baggage cars, and these began to hit the rails in 2013 and began entering service in 2016. Kato announced the first release of the Viewliner 2 car in HO scale, with the most common unit the baggage car. Dealers would take delivery of these units in April 2022. These cars are built specifically for Amtrak, and thus Amtrak is the only road name being offered, and only the Phase 3 Heritage paint scheme is available in 2 road numbers. The MSRP on these cars is $87, but discounts can be found, bringing the total closer to $60. The car being reviewed today is 61006, one of the first Viewline baggage cars in the series, and one of the 2 road numbers available in this run. The cars essentially come out of the box ready to run, but several additional details are included under the styrofoam cradle and will have to be installed by the owner. For this review, the model will be analyzed with the additional details installed. Taking a look at the details on the ends of the cars, the dominating feature of the car body ends is the molded-on details for the car diaphragms. The actual diaphragm piece is a molded-on component, but is a 2-piece part on the prototype with the silver door support structure and the black mating surfaces of the diaphragm. On either side is the red marker lights. Out of the box, these are non-operational, but owners can install the optional lighting kit to illuminate these using acrylic light tubes. At the center of the car body is the molded-on door details with the window insert. This insert is tinted to match the prototype window. The car body end features several molded-on grab irons as well, and the owner can install the separately applied grab irons that are provided in the box. Under the car body is the Kato kinematic coupler, utilizing a split design. These plastic couplers have quite the swing due to the design of the coupler box, allowing the car to achieve tight turning radiuses despite the longer wheelbase. The plastic couplers include detailing on the coupler similar to McHenry plastic couplers for reference, and owners can install magnetic trip pins if desired. The last detail is the plastic side ladders on either side of the car body, and this is another user-applied detail. Moving down the sides of the car body, one of the significant features of the car is the silver Amtrak paint designed to replicate the metallic body panels on the prototype. This shade of silver paint complements the real-life example, and while it doesn't exactly match the car body side of brand new examples, the paint seems to resemble a like-new finish similar to a few months of wear. Despite the relatively recent build dates, the cars were delivered with the Phase 3 Heritage paint scheme, paying homage to the older Amtrak paint schemes. The 3-stripe paint scheme features the red, white, and blue equal-sized striping with the road number and car type towards the end of the car and the Amtrak Heritage logo in the center. The lower half of the car body features the fluting running down the entire length of the car. Just below the fluting is the trucks that sport some separately applied details and a mixture of good molded-on details as well. The main selling feature of the trucks is the animated roller bearing caps that rotate with the axle. One of the user-applied details on the sides of the car are the 2 side step ladders located on either side of the underbody compartments. These side ladder detail components are required to be installed when the lower chassis is detached from the body. Moving up on the car body is the 2 sets of access doors to allow baggage to be transported in and off the car. Each door set includes a tinted window as well as an array of nicely printed warning labels. On either side of the door sets is the owner-applied sets of plastic grab irons with 1 large size and 1 small size. Owners should take extreme care to ensure the proper grab iron is installed into the correct alignment holes, as the grab irons are similar in size, but only one fits in a proper orientation. While both ends of the car are very similar, there is one distinguishing feature that separates the A end of the car from the B end of the car, and that is the brake wheel molded into the diaphragm vestibule area. Moving to the top of the car, there are really only 2 features to point out on this relatively plain roof. The first of these features is more of that fluting that was seen on the lower half of the car body sides, running down the entire length of the car roof. The other main detail on the roof is the 4 air vents that are separately applied details. Underneath the car is similar to the roof with a relatively plain array of details. Some areas of interest to point out otherwise are the coupler boxes. These couplers are a Kato design, slightly different from conventional designs. The boxes need to be removed to install aftermarket couplers and press fits into the bottom of the chassis. Looking underneath the trucks, the brass strips can be seen that provide electrical pickups if the owner wants to install the optional taillight kits. The underbody of the baggage car slides forward slightly to reveal the underside of the chassis. In here, it's easier to install the side ladders as well as installing the optional taillight LED. When removing or installing the underbody, the arrow points match up with the arrows on the underbody chassis. I ended up purchasing both of the available road numbers from this release, 61006 and 61058. The cars measured in 11 3/8 inches long and weighed in at 6.01 ounces or 187 grams. The NMRA recommended weight for a car of this size is 6.81 ounces, so the Viewliners are slightly underweight by approximately 12%. The cars do come equipped with the Kato plastic couplers with the split design similar to AccuRail couplers. Magnetic trip pins are included in the parts bag and can be installed by the owner. Both the couplers on each car were found at the correct height using the Kato height gauge. Turning the model over, the underside of the body can be slid forward to remove lower chassis. Once removed, the F11 decoder and taillight kit can be installed in the direction of desired travel. Both of these components are separate from the details included with the baggage car and will need to be purchased if desired. For the scoring section of the review, the total score will be broken down into several categories, each with its own point totals adding up to 100 possible points. The first category is the packaging. The model arrives in the classic Kato packaging with the extruded styrofoam interior, bubble wrap topping, and the cardboard outer box. The model included the additional details under the styrofoam but does not include the extra roller bearing caps. The paint on the model is overall very nice and matches the silver metallic look to other Amtrak products that Kato offers, like the Superliners. It appears on the model that the Amtrak 3 Heritage striping, the paint lines were pad printed on instead of being painted on, which isn't too big of a deal, but if you get very close you can see some imperfections, but nothing too major. I will say the paint is overall pretty plain, and in some areas like on the diaphragms and truck springs, these could have been painted to really bring out the details on this model to the next level. The accuracy of the model varies quite a bit from example to example based on minor decal differences, but for the 61006, the model is mostly accurate sometime after July 2015 based off the door decals. The details that are included on the model are accurate for the appropriate car example. One of the weakest aspects of this car is the details, or should I say the lack of. There's definitely a lot of missed opportunities for details that could have been added, like the HEP receptacles, trainline air hoses, grab irons, and rivet details all would have been nice. This really comes down to the owner's preference, but comparing to other budget models and more premium models, this definitely feels more like a budget model despite the $87 MSRP. Another aspect is the addition of these separately applied details. And now, I'm not one to back away from model just because it's a kit, but adding details to an $87 model feels a little bit awkward. Plus, if you're going to have the end user install the details themselves, then give them all the details they could ever need to super detail the model. Overall, I took away 10 points from this category. All the metal wheels were engaged and had no issues. One of the most enjoyable things about Kato models is that all the wheels pick up electrical power straight from the factory. The split plastic coupler design is obviously subpar, but is relatively easy to swap out couplers. All the couplers on the two example cars were at the correct height though. The model operates fairly well with the metal wheels and rolls smoothly down the line. The split couplers may cause issues in the future with prototype full-length consists, but I did not encounter any of these issues. The model is also slightly underweight but still tracks well. Owners may opt to include some minor weight, however. The value of these models is always subjective to the owner, but I found the model to be relatively good, but feels more like a budget model with a premium MSRP, so I took away 2 points. For the miscellaneous section, one aspect I think that wasn't covered was the interior of the baggage car, which one side of it has a clear view of nothing, and the other side is partially blocked by the taillight tube housings. I'm not 100% sure why it was configured like this, but I would either say both should be covered or neither should be covered, and regardless, it's a little bit questionable on this design. Overall, an 8 out of 10. Totaling up all the points, this adds up to 81 out of 100, or a B- overall score. When comparing the model to previously done reviews, the Viewliner 2 baggage car lands a little bit low on the scoring, tied for 18th place. Some final thoughts on the car. If you've ever owned a Kato product, then this is right in line with others and has a very similar feel to other Kato passenger cars I've owned. The focus of Kato products has always been to generally run great and look good as a secondary objective, and that's the case here as well. The model runs great, but obviously some of the details are clearly lacking or just plain missing. The model does come with a hefty price tag, so prospective buyers may want to weigh over the options before purchasing it, especially if Kato decides to produce more variants in the Viewliner 2 product line. But that's all I got for you guys right now. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the latest Kato release and if you're thinking about picking it up or why it's not the right product for you. With that, comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.